Canada was once seen as a land of stability, high wages, strong social safety nets, and broad opportunities for immigrants. But within just a few years, that narrative has shifted. Newcomers now find that nominal income growth lags behind interest rates, while housing costs surge as real estate prices drift far beyond real wages. The Canadian dollar weakens against the US dollar, liquidity tightens across the economy, and financial security quietly erodes. Government CDs levels remain low and the system appears intact, yet personal finances are already under strain. Immigrants feel the shock first. Limited asset buffers, thin support networks, and direct dependence on the labor market. As rates rise, student loans, auto debt, and credit cards become heavier burdens. The question is no longer whether Canada is in crisis, but why a seemingly stable economy has become so difficult for those who arrive with the least margin for error. Economic crises rarely announce themselves with sudden collapse. They emerge through subtle signals hidden in ordinary data. Policy rates rise to fight inflation, but higher borrowing costs ripple through the entire system. Liquidity is pulled back toward the central bank, drying up household cash flow. Canada's housing market slows in transactions, yet rents remain high, exposing long-standing supply imbalances. A weaker Canadian dollar raises import costs and erodes real income. For immigrants, this is not macroeconomic theory, it's the need to work longer hours just to stay afloat. Before the Asian financial crisis of 1997, many economies believed their banking systems were resilient. When confidence cracked, pressure fell first on the most vulnerable. In Canada today, the warning signs are not panic, but the growing number of full-time workers who can no longer get ahead. To understand why immigrants are hit hardest, we must examine how the current economic shock is transmitted. Rising interest rates hit asset prices first, while the real economy adjusts more slowly. Businesses delay investment, hiring weakens, and wages lag behind accumulated inflation. Immigrants often enter the labor market at lower tiers, where bargaining power is limited and job security fragile. As global liquidity tightens, capital flows back to US dollar assets, putting pressure on the Canadian dollar. This mechanism is familiar from Argentina or Turkey. Currency weakness raises living costs while domestic incomes fail to keep pace. Canada is not facing a currency crisis, but the shock transmission is similar. Risk is gradually absorbed by households and for newcomers without financial buffers. Even small rate or currency moves translate into existential pressure. Global comparisons show that Canada is not unique, but the immigrant experience is distinct. After Greece's debt crisis, austerity did not collapse. The system overnight did prolong a slow decline in living standards for workers. In Venezuela, currency collapse destroyed real income entirely. Canada sits between these extremes. A stable financial system, low CDs spreads, well-capitalized banks, but living costs rising faster than personal adjustment. Large-scale immigration coincided with a sharp rate-hiking cycle, intensifying demand for housing and services. Asset-owning Canadians benefit from real estate, while immigrants are exposed to rising rents. This is a quiet redistribution of risk, not visible on national balance sheets, but embedded in household budgets of those with the fewest choices. The effects spread across the Canadian economy in ways that are easy to miss in the short term. When immigrants devote most of their income to rent, debt, and essentials, discretionary consumption weakens. GDP growth becomes less resilient, even. As population numbers rise, employment data looks strong, but job quality deteriorates. More part-time work, shorter contracts, lower productivity. This mirrors post-IMF adjustment patterns, where growth relies on labor quantity rather than capital efficiency. Banks remain safe, CDs stable, yet corporate profits increasingly depend on cost compression rather than innovation. For immigrants, upward mobility slows. They work more hours but accumulate less, reinforcing the sense that the economy functions. Government and central bank responses follow a logic of system stability rather than immediate household relief. The Bank of Canada prioritizes inflation control through high rates, accepting short-term growth pain to protect currency credibility. The federal government expands immigration to offset labor shortages and sustain GDP, but housing supply, infrastructure, and public services lag behind. This pattern is familiar from IMF programs. Macro indicators are stabilized, while every day, pressure intensifies. Subsidies, tax credits, and rent support soften the blow but do not reverse the trend. Immigrants increasingly realize that policies are not theoretically flawed. Yet the gap between system stability and personal survival keeps widening. In that gap, individuals absorb more risk by working longer hours, taking multiple jobs. At the personal level, economic shocks translate into deeply practical decisions. Immigrants delay home ownership as mortgage rates exceed affordability, even if housing prices cool. They share accommodation, move farther from city centers, or take second jobs. These choices reduce quality of life and limit investment in education, skills, and health. In Argentina or Turkey, this is when households begin informal dollarization to preserve value. In Canada, defensive behavior is quieter, holding cash, avoiding long-term debt, cutting discretionary spending. The key insight is that immigrants are not exiting the economy, they are becoming extremely cautious. As a result, the economy loses the risk-taking energy that once allowed newcomers to climb quickly. Survival strategies now require more than hard work. Immigrants must understand the economic mechanics surrounding them. High interest rates are not just borrowing costs. They signal a monetary cycle shift. A weak Canadian dollar warns that domestic income is vulnerable. Real estate is no longer a fast path to wealth, but a liability if entered at the wrong moment. Those who fare better diversify skills, preserve personal liquidity, and avoid excessive leverage. Lessons from Greece and Venezuela are clear. Adaptability matters more than optimism when systems are under strain. For immigrants in Canada, financial stability increasingly outweighs asset ownership as a priority. In the long run, the greatest risk is not inflation or interest rates, but confidence. If immigrants no longer believe effort leads to progress, the economy loses a vital source of momentum. Canada benefited for decades from people willing to endure short-term hardship for long-term opportunity. When living costs outpace income, that future promise fades. Countries like Argentina and Greece show that once social confidence erodes, recovery takes years even after macro indicators improve. Canada is not there yet, but warning signals appear in everyday conversations. Immigrants don't talk about CDs or liquidity. They talk about not planning beyond next month. The outcome of this story is not yet fixed. Canada retains a strong financial system, deep resources, and policy flexibility. But the divide between national stability and personal experience continues to widen. Immigrants are not failing due to lack of effort. They are navigating an economic landscape that has shifted faster than expectations. What worked in the past no longer guarantees success today. The remaining question extends beyond newcomers to the entire Canadian economy. Can the current growth model still make room for those without accumulated assets? Or will the immigrant dream slowly become a memory of a different economic era?